The Germans lead the way for the second heat. And the crowd roar for the Japanese just behind them. Miyamoto, Shiraishi, Tamura and Fujimitsu carry the hopes of a nation inside Yokohama and the International Stadium tonight in this 4x2.
Yeah, Shiraiishi's been in great shape. He won the men's 100-metre final at the Oda Memorial last meet at Hiroshima in a personal best. He's probably better known as a 100-metre runner, but he's got a 20.6 PB to his name as well in the 200, so he's a great sprinter for Japan. And if you were a Japanese athlete, knowing how good your sprint relay is, the 4x100 team, you'd be doing everything to try and crack that team for next year's home Olympics.
Tamura will be on the third leg.
Quality athlete. Still be a little bit disappointed from last night.
Japanese will be in lane 4 for this race. Take a look at the Brazilians. I know you've been impressed with them at these World Relays.
Oh, they've had a fantastic first day of the World Relays. They've got some quality sprinters. Sometimes when you're looking at relays in sprinting, you look at the genuine stars of track and field and you forget to look at the depth that some of these countries have. Dos Santos ran the relay in Rio, and they were Olympic finalists in the 4x100. They finished 6th in their home Olympics. And that's what you see sometimes with the home Olympics. It really does lift the track and field population of that country. They really want to be out there competing in a home Olympics, but then after the Olympics finish, they've still got that great depth.
The South Africans.
And Danville, he's a fantastic junior to be looking at. He's 17, he won the Youth Boys 200 final, won by a huge margin over in South Africa, and he also won the African Under-18 champs in 20 and a half in April in 2019. He's going to have a great time out there with his teammates. And isn't South Africa having a bit of a comeback in the sprints?
Yes, there's a really good production line coming through. They started the World Under-18s in Nairobi a couple of years ago. Saw the smiling Van Wickham a few moments ago. So this will be the second heat. We've seen the Americans blow the field away in the first. This could be a little tighter. Past sunset now. Japan. It's cloudy. The rain stays away. Tremendous crowd in on the back straight of the International Stadium. Let's introduce them all then. The Nigerians with Jerry Jakpa on the lead leg in lane 8. China, Mu Yuchu. The anchor comes from Lin Junhong. And South Africa led off by John Seeliger. Tedrick Van Wyk is on the last leg. Brazil. And 6 teams lining up for this one. Germany, Japan, Brazil, South Africa, China and Nigeria. Heat 2 in that 4x200 meters, but Tedrick Van Wyk.
Changes, they had a little bit of problems with a few of them, and they were just keeping them really, really close to that end of the changeover zone.
So Jamaica also disqualified. We saw what happened to the French there, so that means Kenya now are elevated into third position and are an automatic qualifier. Let's wrap up what happened in Heat 2 there that we just saw. South Africa with victory ahead of Germany and then China. Nigeria fourth. The Brazilians we mentioned out of the race quite early on. We saw a rather strutting in vain for a baton that would never come. Down to the call room. All the anticipation. Four by 400 meters relay final is coming up on the track. Last team out will be Kenya. And as we hear the noise for those B finalists, let's confirm the qualifiers from the men's 4x200 meters relay, led by a world-leading time from the United States, South Africa, Germany and China, along with the Bahamas and Kenya, the automatic qualifiers. The two go into. Saidi is trying to muster something on the home straight. Maslak's really lost it. He went too early. It's Italy and France. Those two will go to the World Championships, and Maslak just saw his race fall apart in the last 50 meters, and the celebrations will be for the Italians and the French. What a dramatic finish, and Maslak on this occasion just got it wrong, and Italy came through to take victory through David Ray, and the French pulled it round after struggling early on in that leg, but Saidi just paced it a little better, and they get second.
Wasn't it a fantastic leg by Ray, by Italy? He looked completely composed, he was relaxed, he used his energy perfectly throughout that 400 meters. I think that the France's last leg of Saidi is one to watch in the future. 19 years old, and he just kept his head nice and cool and calm, and you can't buy that sort of experience. He's got that naturally. Brilliant leg by him. And what great changes by the two out the front. You can see that they're a well-oiled machine, and they've practiced those changes over and over. That is how you want to do 4x400 changes.
Well, Maslak, you just thought will have had this one in his mind to take Saidi a little early, but then he just put too much into this first 200, and Ray of Italy doing a great job to hold on in there and secure that place by winning the race as Maslak just faded. You look at those two go past as Maslak effectively goes backwards on that brilliant angle down the home straight. Good performance from Saidi as well. The eyes were shut there for a moment, little blink. When he woke up, he realised he'd just booked his team a place at the World Championships.
Contrast between the excited out on the warm-up track Italians who are stoked that their team, you can see Andrew Howe there who ran in the mixed relay yesterday. So you know, as soon as your country qualifies, basically what happens is the people back at home who are chances to make that team get just as excited, because the nation then has a chance to send the 6 athletes. So what an opportunity for the 400-meter runners from Italy and France going forward to the World Championships later in the year in Doha. We saw Corso, who was so excited at the start. I'm guessing he's going to have a big celebration tonight after booking their ticket.
I think the Italians do their celebrations at the finish line better than any. Let's confirm the final shakedown of the B final, men's 4x400 meters. Italy from France, the Czech Republic edged out to third, China in fourth. The Netherlands unable to repeat the feat of the women. They finished in fifth. Germans, Poles and Colombia bringing up the rest of the field. So something riding on those B finals, and it really did show through in front of a passionate crowd here in Yokohama this evening. Tamsin, you brought the sweets along, but the IAAF president, Seb Coe, just came along and pinched one of them.
It's okay, I'll charge him for it later. Wasn't that royalty being up here?
Yeah, well, those sweets keep us going through these long sessions. And
well, I know we've only seen the heats and a couple of B finals, but haven't they started the night off with great excitement? You know, what you can see is the excitement from the teams who obviously booked their tickets and are ecstatic, and on the flip side, you see after athletes who've run 4x400s in pain and upset.
Some of the images so far on this second evening of these IAAF World Relays. Celebrations for the Dutch women in the 400 B final. And then the Italians and the French taking a look. Earning the 2 qualification places for Doha.
Who says that athletics is an individual sport? Hugs all around.
Well, the tension continues to build. There's the scene inside the call room. 1 or 2 people wishing good luck to fellow athletes as they make their way through. We've got a big final coming up in the 4x400 meters. You can see the Jamaicans poised to lead them out.
They are, and they've made quite a few changes from their heat run to this final. They've brought in Russell, who's obviously a very, very talented 400-metre hurdler with great 400 flat speed. Kept Gordon in, but she looks like she's going to be running the first leg rather than in the heat she anchored.
This is the moment when they're waiting for the go, the moment where they're saying, right, are we ready? Can we get out there on the track? They won't want to hang around in this call room any longer than they have to, and you can see the official there saying, right, forward you come. It's nice to see the crowd playing out to get up close and personal as well with the athletes who are not running at the moment, and here as spectators tonight. Smile, you're on the screen, and we're ready for the next track final, the women's 4x400 meters relay. Could be some Jamaican success to talk about in the next few minutes. Strong lineup and some strong support for the Jamaicans. And the waiting almost over. Here's our next track action. And here come Jamaica. First team out for this 4x400 meters relay. The final. Suzanne Gordon. The team led by Anastasia Leroy, Tiffany James and Genevieve Russell completing a strong quartet. Here are Italy. They'd thought about that. Trevisan, Lakudu, Folorenzo and Chigbolo. They know how to celebrate, they know how to make an entrance. Here are the Canadians, what have they worked on? A big wave. Maya Stevens, Madeline Price, Alicia Brown, and the Canadian champion Sage Watson. High hopes for Great Britain, big waves to the crowd. Emily Diamond, Lavia Nielsen, Zoe Clark and Amy Alcock will run the anchor leg. This is the team though going to extend an imperious run from 4x400 metres competition at the World Relays. The US, Jade Stepter, Shakima Wimbley, Jessica Beard and a world indoor champion, Courtney Okolo. The dangerous Poles, European champions. Holub Kovalek, Miskovic, Kilbasinka and Sweetie Ercetic will anchor them. Now Switzerland. Leah Sprunger brings huge experience. Yasmin Geiger, a World Under-20 bronze medalist, on the anchor. And here are the French. Experienced as Brossier. And there's 23-year-old Amandine Brossier, who will be on the anchor.
Yeah, the French team's made a lot of changes from the heat to the final. I think what they're trying to do is just give some of their athletes some experience. They've qualified for that all-important World Championships later in the year, so they're probably just bleeding some of their depth out and seeing what their athletes are capable of in a pressure cooker of a final situation. As we see the Great Britain team setting up with Clark. Sorry, Diamonds on first for Great Britain. They've got a quality lineup and they've also got depth. I think Lavia Nielsen's a really big talent who's running the second leg. She at 16 carried the bag for Jessica Ennis, the heptathlete gold medal at the 2012 London Olympics, and on hearing the crowd roar, she decided that's what she wanted, so came out here and here she is. She's doing a fantastic job. She was brilliant last year at the Europeans. She keeps taking her personal best down. She's got an identical twin sister. They're models off the track, which isn't a surprise. They're good-looking young ladies.
And Poland, of course, the European champions, in a rich vein of form when it comes to individual and relay running at the moment. Emily Diamond, silver at the World Championships. They were third in the Europeans. They've changed their order as well for this final.
Yeah, they have. They're leading off with Diamond. Diamond was the anchor in the heat, and they've moved Clark from the lead-off leg to the third leg. So they're probably doing the same sort of thing, trialling out a few different things. I think the quality team here has to be, that we're going to be looking at, is the USA team. Courtney Okolo looked amazing on the heat last night, running the anchor leg, and I think she's got a lot more left to give.
Jade Stepter will be on the opening leg, a fine hurdler as well as being a flat runner.
Ercetic touches of late in this 400 metres, just turns to gold. She had a fantastic Europeans last year. She is superbly fit. She is able to back up race after race. That was just amazing. And the Italians, they had some brilliant legs in their quartet as well. Florenzo really got them back into that race, and to finish with the bronze, amazing.
What a bunch up as well it was in that home straight. And Okolo just with a little bit too much to do. It was the Americans really in the last 50 metres of the third leg who saw that lead evaporate.
It was, you know, that's the thing with 400 metres. If you just get that pace judgment wrong, then you pay for it at the back end, and that's what we saw with Beard for America as she was coming in to pass that baton to Okolo. She really lost momentum, and the change was nowhere near as good as the other three on the outside, and they accelerated out of that changeover better than Okolo. She still ran a really great leg, but it was too much work to catch up with quality athletes in front of her.
The other thing we must talk about...
When, you know, I just haven't seen a 4x4 finish like that for so long. Look at them across the screen, and Sage Watson's run a great leg too for Canada, closing fast, but you know, there's nothing you can do when that bear jumps on the back and you get lactic like poor Russell got in the back end. She still held her form well, but it's all about the poles. What a fantastic quartet of runners they have found themselves with leading into a World Championships and an Olympics. They are very successful and they're a close group. You can see how excited they are to take home that gold. What brilliant, brilliant scenes from the women's 4x4.
And the Polish flag will fly proudly in Yokohama. And delight for the support staff who can see themselves on the big screen. The US second place, and that shouldn't be forgotten, that yet again they continue a fine run, but it just goes to show how dominant they've been in this event, that there's almost that element of saying, well, only second. I mean, it was a second place finish, but considering that they had been unbeaten in World Relays and indeed have been so dominant at World Championship and Olympic level as well.
You can almost see on the face of the United States athletes that they're happy with the medal, but you can still see some of that disappointment because they know that they have the talent to cross that line first in the 4x400. But I think this is going to be a wake-up call for them. There are other countries that are starting to really work hard on the relays. As we see one of the Polish athletes step away because she actually has the mixed relay coming up later, and there's not much time in the turnaround.
And we've seen the Italians celebrating already this evening. They know how to mark a special achievement, and a fantastic performance to come through almost from nowhere really and get that third place.
Paula Kulik on the screen. She was the Polish champ last year. She's got a low 51-second personal best. They've got some great athletes, and I think that the US and some of the other countries are going to be starting to keep their eye on the...
There's the scene outside the US team in the warm-up track area.
USA! USA! USA!
Well, they'll be welcoming back those 4x4 girls shortly. But there's 3 of the 4 Poles who've just run to a historic victory.
And it's a shame that they can't enjoy it as the quartet. But as we see the Italians going around, goodness, didn't they live to run well? I thought that Florenzo was such a great leg on that second leg for them. And they put in Lacundo, who ran really nice and relaxed on that last leg with the men chasing her down in the mixed relay yesterday.
Well, if that was dramatic, I wonder what we have up our sleeve in the next action. There's the scene in the call room, down below the gallows of the stadium. World champions Trinidad and Tobago among the teams who will be competing in the next track action. And well, this crowd brought out of their seats by some of the drama we've seen in the last hour or so. A landmark Polish victory in the women's 4x400 metres final. They are still taking the acclaim of the crowd out there, waving a few pitches.
And they'll be very much looking forward to this next race where the Japanese will be coming up.
And here is our next track action. In 7, Belgium in 8, South Africa 9. The men's 4x400 metres relay final in Yokohama. The lead just from Jamaica and the US.
And Richards has amazing 200-metre speed, and he used that then to get out of that change just as...
The metres relay in the men's event at these World Relays. But the finish too close to call. But the US, whose women were deposed just minutes ago in the 4x4 women, they may have just been edged out again by world champion Trinidad and Tobago in the closest finish of the weekend so far, and they've got it in 3 minutes, 0.81 seconds. Cedeno with a finish for the ages.
Wowzers, they were completely out of it. I mean, you had to give it to the USA running down that back straight. They had such a big lead. Here's Cedeno. What a fantastic leg by him. I mean, these are world-class athletes, and he's just, that was phenomenal.
What a sensational finish. We thought we had some drama in the women's 4x400 metres, and look at the difference in the times. 3 minutes .81 to 3 minutes .84. The US Delawoa just saw that lead disappear, probably inside the last 10 metres and even right up to the line. He could barely get that 1 foot in front of the other, and Cedeno had just smelt the chance and sensed the opportunity, and with an incredible last 60 metres or so, he took Trinidad and Tobago to another memorable victory on a world stage.
And what helped him was that he had Nathan Allen for Cedeno. He just stayed beautifully relaxed, and in contrast, you can see with Dedoa, he was so tired, and he tensed up. He would have seen the big screen, and he was desperate for that lunge, but he just tripped over his own feet right at the end through that lactic tired bit of that you feel at the end of 400 metres. See him looking at the screen, he knows that Cedeno's coming. He would be able to feel him and sense him, and when you've got that baton in your hands, there's that extra pressure because you feel like you've got the weight of your 3 other teammates on your shoulders. Cedeno was a beautiful form in that last 100 metres, and Allen's run a sensational leg as well for Jamaica to finish in the 3rd position.
And what about this, just to add to the drama, considering how that race finished? The United States team are handing back their flags because word is reaching us that they have been disqualified for a lane infringement way back earlier in the race.
Which will mean that Belgium will move up into that all-important 3rd position, which is nice for them because they're so used, if you look at their history of Belgium, and it's courtesy of the Borlée brothers, a lot of the team, is that they've finished 4th and 5th in so many majors over the last 10 years. So to finish 3rd is very nice for them, but it's probably not the way that they'd want to do it.
Well, Trinidad and Tobago, of course, weren't to know what fate was to befall the Americans.
No.
And so Cedeno's run still goes down as one of the greats. He's produced one before, a key run in a World Championship to bring back some 7 metres on that occasion. Well, this time he's produced a fantastic anchor leg to take gold, although ultimately the United States, well, it appears, were to be disqualified.
So in 2017, Cedeno ran that 3rd leg in that World Championship victory for them, and he was the athlete actually who took 7 metres off the USA team. So maybe that's what he likes. Maybe that's what he needs to go fast. He just needs a blue singlet out in front of him, and he'll chase it down. I think that the USA leading into the world champs and the Americans are going to have nightmares about Cedeno now, because he is a great relay runner and he just knows how to chase those United States athletes down.
And do you know what? At the start of the home straight, with about 100 to go, I actually just was wondering whether it was more about Trinidad holding on to what they believed at the time was to be 2nd place, because Jamaica still looked pretty strong behind them. And, well, in fact, he had his eyes firmly on what was in front of him.
Well, Nathan Allen's, I mean, on that last leg, there were some great athletes, because Allen for Jamaica is a youngster coming through who's run superbly fast at NCAA level last year in that amazing race where we saw some super fast times behind the winner, Michael Norman, who broke 44 seconds, which is crazy fast. But that was a race that we're going to remember for a long time.
And let's confirm the final results in the men's 4x400 metres relay. Trinidad and Tobago taking victory, a world-leading time for 2019, ahead of Jamaica, who now have 2nd place. Belgium came in 3rd, and the United States disqualified in a dramatic half hour or so for both the men's and women's relay teams here in Yokohama. The Japanese elevated to 4th, therefore, so a proud moment for them in front of a home crowd. So what, the breeze is getting up here in the commentary position in the international stadium. Got everything weighted down, only 1 or 2 bits of paper. These races keep coming. You just wonder, what are we going to see next? Well, the actual answer to that is a mixed relay final, but it was more a rhetorical question.
Well, all I can say is that after what we've seen so far, I know that it's going to be full of excitement and emotion.
Well, they made a good choice in making their way down to the stadium here in Yokohama. Seen some pretty special moments in global sport down the years.
Crowd really getting into it now. Dancing to the music.
Well, we saw the call room a few moments ago as the Japanese flags continue to be waved here. Mixed relay final is coming up next. That'll be a big debate about tactics and just how you get that combination right. There's no set way in which you can take that race on. And here it comes. A really fast third.
Action out there on the track.
There's
Belgians
Sakura, who would have run the 4th leg.
Well, there wasn't much recovery between the 4x4 for the athletes who decided to double up. There was a couple of athletes out there that doubled up, and the Belgians decided to do it for 2 of their athletes. You know, it's a smaller nation, so they don't have as much depth as the other countries. So Hannah Clay's on 3rd, and Sakura had to try and do that doubling up this evening, but I got a little bit mixed up there. The Canadians were coming back very strongly. Their females ran fantastic legs there in the middle, and Kenya looks pretty happy out there to have crossed the line in 3rd position. But Sakura, he looks absolutely spent. Great training session for him, but it's got to hurt. Stavern there on the screen, who ran the 2nd leg for the Canadians. She's actually a dual citizen. She's got USA citizenship as well, because her dad was an NCAA winning American footballer. There she is, celebrating that.
And the Canadians celebrate a 2nd place. The Canadians outside. Huge cheers and pride in their fellow countrywomen and men. 30. Atkins then ran around in 51.60, Blocker in 52.30, Dontavius Wright 46.23 for that last 400.
Yeah, I think the difference between the teams was Joanna Atkins for the US. Wright looks like he's enjoying this last bit. He's got such a huge lead. You can see it on the big screen, and he's really enjoying the last few meters, which doesn't happen a lot in a 400, but he's making the most of the opportunity, crossing the line with the baton up. His teammates on the warm-up track, very excited to see the USA back in that 1st position.
It's the position that they have occupied so often at major international events, and they're getting great acclaim, as are the Canadians, as they parade in front of that absolutely packed lower tier of this huge stadium in Yokohama. And the Stars and Stripes held proudly aloft. The results of the mixed 4x400 meters relay final. The United States back on top, 3:16.43 for victory from Canada in 2nd, and Kenya with an impressive 3rd. Mentioned the Kenyans. That was a tremendous performance from them. I just wondered whether Siambua had just gone out too hard on their 3rd leg, but it kind of laid a platform for Koech to work off.
Yeah, and Koech is a quality athlete. He's a 400 hurdler. You can see he's a tall athlete. He's the twin brother of Nicholas Bett, who was the world champion over 4 hurdles, and Aaron made the final of the 400 hurdles at the Commonwealth Games last year. He's the tallest in that field. And it was great to see Thomas back in their team too. She was great at the 2016 World Juniors, where she ran a 52 flat, and she wasn't happy with it. She was so disappointed with finishing 5th, and we haven't seen her for a few years, so it's good to see her back enjoying her athletics.
Well, a It's a big lap of honour around this big stadium, and the Americans have enjoyed every step of that one.
Ciara Brown.
A winner, of course, last night, and a picture of her teammates tonight. Back down to the call room. The sound is so good. For those of us who've never been in a call room before competing at least, just immediately raises the tension.
The French look nice and relaxed, don't they? Japanese holding hands, saying a little prayer before they head out.
Well, that'll be next on the track, but what a night we have had so far on this second evening. And outside it's pretty chilly out there. The rain's holding off, but the wind has really picked up. One or two hoods up. Bit of headgear as well. My hood might go up in a minute, you know. All right, another final. And here it comes on the track next. Up South Africa second, and Germany come through for third, and the Germans lagging behind after a baton drop way back at the start of the race.
Well, that was better. That was a bit cleaner. Unfortunately, the Bahamians, you say it for me,
The
Tony.
Bahamians. It took me to visit the Bahamas to actually get
Do you know
into
what?
Bahamian lingo.
The Bahamas team had a bit of a mishap on that first change, but the US did their changes really well. They still did the acceleration out, but they kept it safer. They made sure that their runners were within reach when they put their hand up. It was hand out, and it'd be interesting to know if they actually watched those women's races and made them a bit safer, but it was a good job by the United States on all of the changes.
The home team, Japan, taking the applause of the crowd because they finished fifth, but the USA, here's the Bahamian problem.
Yep.
A straight drop, really. And you see, just explain what we saw there with the running back and staying in the race.
So you just have to make sure that the person who dropped the baton goes back and picks it up and returns to the race in a sprint relay. Once you've dropped that baton, it's too hard to get back into the race. McLean ran really well on that final leg. Simbini's in some great touch. He's the Commonwealth Games 100-metre victor, and he was closing very fast on McLean for the United States.
And in the background, Vernon Norwood, who run the third leg, had his arms in the air right at the other end of the home straight and was saluting what he could see, that he'd set up an American win, and this is how it was received outside by the team officials and athletes alike. And back inside, the Stars and Stripes flags are back on display for the winners of the 4x200 metres. For the first time in a World Relays, the US on top. Germany finished third, and celebrating with their flag there. Buka, Domagala, Menga, and Yeva. And you just wonder if Simbini just had a little smaller margin, what he might made of it in that last 200.
But the United States made sure that their changes were nice and slick, so they didn't even give them a sniff. What an occasion for Dan Beal from South Africa. He's running with senior athletes that he would look up to. He's only 17 years of age, and he's out there on the senior international stage, finishing in the top 3 positions and getting a taste of what's to come for him. He looks like he has a big future in the sport of track and field. Belcher's such a character, isn't he? He's a character, but he also delivers, because that was a fantastic leg that he ran out of the blocks for the US. Set it up nicely.
Well, they're gathering in front of absolutely massed ranks of photographers. And the images that are being sent all around the globe. pinged out on media platforms everywhere. Oh, and a day's work, Chris Belcher.
Well, talented athlete. And it's nice to see the athletes when they're so intense in the United States, because they've got so much depth when they come to their trials to try and make teams. They're obviously against each other, but they come together so well. You always see such good camaraderie amongst the United States. You know that they're a close-knit team, and they're very supportive of one another, and they're very proud to wear the colours of the United States.
Of course, the 4x2 not run as often. It's not in major championships, so this is that little element of fun that's introduced as well, to take on a 4x2.
Well, and it's also perfect because it is so early in the season. Some of the sprinters like the idea of doing their training session with a crowd watching, you know, so to throw in a 4x2, it's if you're a 100-metre sprinter, it allows you to do some back-end training to top up that conditioning, but making it fun at the same time. Flip side, if you're a 400-metre runner, it allows you to drop back down and do some speed work, some quality speed work with your teammates under the conditions of a championship that you're going to be experiencing throughout the season. So,
yep, you're on camera, and those are the Americans, and that back straight is absolutely packed on that lower tier. There's a USA chance coming out there as well. Christopher Belcher leading them along in a cry of USA. The result, the United States in first, 1:20.12, ahead of South Africa and Germany. In the women's 4x2, a fantastic victory for France.
Winners of that women's 4x200 metres final, and France's first ever win at the World Relays Championships. Congratulations, how does that feel?
Thank you.
How does it feel?
That feels really nice, because yesterday we missed the final for the 4x1s. Now we're really happy, and actually it was like we just need to run just to be happy and to focus on the happiness, and that's it.
Are you slightly surprised, because the field was so stacked as well, and a lot went wrong in that race?
Yeah, because we saw the American, the Jamaican, the big teams, and we were like, okay, so we're running against Ellen Thompson, Cheyenne Fraser Price, and we were like, okay, let's see what we can do, and yes, the magic happened.
And you got that gold all the way from lane 9 as well, which may be the trickiest lane to run in.
Excuse me?
You did it all from lane 9 as well, which is even tougher.
Actually, coaches told us, you go front, and don't be catch. So yeah, we were really happy, and yes.
And it's a rare race. We don't see it ran that often, but it looks like you guys have been practicing, because those changeovers were excellent, and especially compared to what went wrong there for Team Jamaica.
Yeah, it's not an easy race, but it's a sprint, so we try to run fast.
Congratulations. A bit of history there for Team France. Well done.
Thank you.
The finals keep coming, and it's now time for the 4x100 metres relay women's final. Ghana out first from the gate, Agyapong, Achimpong, William Mensah and Halutiho. Here at Jamaica with Gayon Evans, Natasha Morrison, Tashley Forbes and Janelle Smith.
Nice little dance, like it.
Follow that Germany, what are they going to do? The defending champions at the World Relays. Kwai Burkhardt, Lucan Kemper, who is fast, and Haase, who anchored them to victory in the Bahamas. The Brazilians. Nice moves from Azevedo, Martins, Krasuki and Rosa. And here in the US, Out quickly. When we're all ready, we'll go to the right, we'll give it a spin, and we'll show you our vest. We are USA.
They committed. It was good.
Briscoe, Henderson, Bryant and Hobbs. The Danes, all smiles yesterday, and they're still smiling today. Ostergaard, Glenna Fransen, Gravesgaard and Kramer. Made a little bit of history. Fastest time for 19 years yesterday, the Australians. And the train is off and running. Sally Pearson, she said she had a gut feeling they were going to run well last night. Did an amazing handover on her first leg. These have got progressively better, so the Italians always up for a good laugh. And pumped for this one, I think you would say. Herrera, Abu, Hooper, Bongiorni and Siragusa.
And Bongiorni is the daughter of Giovanni Bongiorni, who was a good sprinter in his day. 1984 Olympic, 4th place in the 4x100 with Pietro Manea in the team. So Giovanni Bongiorni's daughter Anna just came out then with that interesting intro. I quite like the Italians' intro.
That was good. We'll see Filippo Tortu, of course, you mentioned Manea,
Riley
in the 4x1, whose Tortu has gone that little bit quicker.
He has. First Italian to break the 10-second barrier. Saw Riley Day on the screen before for Australia, youngster. She actually got to run against Usain Bolt down the back straight in one of the mixed relays in that nitro concept that they had in Australia in 2017.
How did that work out?
Well, she was only 17 years of age. So what an occasion. She's a schoolgirl and she's lining up against Usain Bolt. I don't think she would have predicted that happening in her life, but we see the Australian Olympic champion for the hurdles.
Yeah, Sally Pearson got them off to such a good start in the heats.
Didn't she? She looks good, you know. She missed most of 2018 with an Achilles issue. Tight hammies. She's always had a little bit of back problems, but I tell you, when she's out on the track, you know that she's ready to go. And she's had a couple of races this season domestically in Australia, but she looked like she was firing on all cylinders last night in that lead leg for Australia. And the German ladies are looking to defend that fantastic race where they won in 2017. Lukenkemper is the first time she didn't run in that race, and so she'll be wanting to experience what Haas experienced at the last World Relays.
Haase with the anchor leg to bring the Germans to victory in Nassau. Lukenkemper is the fastest German woman for nearly 3 decades. So here we go. As Germany were third, it was really close as they got to line, but Alea Hobbs and the Americans watching on will have seen another US victory at a World Relays in 43.27. Cheers in Jamaica at just 2/100ths of a second, and the Germans, winners 2 years ago, have to settle for third in Japan.
Well, it was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. The Jamaicans really ran a lot better than they had in their heat run. US had a couple of issues on that second changeover. There's just a little bit of hesitation, which isn't what athletics. When she was chased by a ferocious dog and a family friend saw her how fast she was running away from it, so said join the AFS team. The Germans not quite as good as they were in 2017, but still in that top 3 position.
And Jamaica put a lot of pressure on at the end with Janelle Smith, but just too much ground to make up, and Alea Hobbs held them off, but second place for them. Members of the German team from 2017, the Americans back on top in the 4x1.
Lead leg, she was very, very quick out of those blocks. She's explosive, she's powerful. They're just a little bit close in that first change. Running down the back straight, you can see Henderson, she's nice and opening up. This is the change where they had a little bit of hesitation. You can just see there where Bryant just had a bit of self-doubt and thought that her athlete in Henderson wasn't going to get to her, and you just don't want to have any slowing up because you want to make sure that it's smooth through those transitions. and this was just another safe change with Hobbs. But didn't Smith on the outside there in Jamaica run a beautiful last leg for Jamaica? You almost thought she was going to catch Hobbs, but she just ran out of tape in that last few meters. You can see that tension on all their faces. They're trying to run as fast as they can carrying that baton. They're holding the hopes of the rest of their team. Hobbs knew that she had it and celebrates accordingly.
Yes, the smile and the arms were wide as she got to the line. In the end, it was pretty close. And this was the reaction of the watching 4x2 men. Come on, yep, one more step.
Such a great time. There you go. Who said athletics was an individual sport, Tony?
Yep. Bye-bye on that on that final straight. Bye-bye, but hello to another World Relays victory. United States. 4x100 meters relay success. 43.27. The Germans knocked back to third on this occasion. But another impressive performance from the likes of Luke and Kemper.
They're showing that they're consistently up there in the 4x100s in the world stage.
The result of the women's 4x100 meters relay final. The United States edging out Jamaica into second. Germany, the defending winners of the World Relays in 2017, finished third on this occasion. And the shots that will be sent all around the world.
The Jamaicans are pretty happy with that. I think that they were happy with the turnaround from the heat to the final. The four of them ran really good legs. It's not just about trying to show that your country is the best relay country in the world out here. It's also about showing your country that you're the one who deserves to be one of the top four who gets to be a part of the relays in the World Champs later this year and leading into the Olympics, which is coming around very quickly in this nation that we're in right now.
Some will treasure for the rest of their lives.
They've been a fantastic supportive crowd, haven't they?
It is great how they have just embraced everybody.
Yes. And that's the thing, they're not just cheering for their own Japanese athletes, they're getting really excited when the athletes are going around and doing victory laps. They're getting really involved, they're taking photos, they're loud, they're noisy, it's brilliant.
Well, which of these athletes could be parading their national flag over their shoulders in the next few minutes? The conclusion of the World Relays rapidly approaching. And hello from Japan. What a welcome. So the Japanese, a tremendous crowd, tremendous hosts, and here we go with one more big moment on the track. Men's 4x100 meters relay final. First out, France, little bow, a nod to the tradition of Japan. Dutambi, Vico, Zeze, and Fall. The Chinese look out for Su Bingchan, but Wu Qichang, Xi Zhenyi and Lang Jinsheng complete their quartet. Brazil could be dangerous. Do Nascimento, Vides Silva and Camilo de Oliveira, the national champion. Watch out for these guys as well. Looks like they've learned to use chopsticks this week. Desalu, Jacobs, Manetti and Tortu. Mike Rogers, Justin Gatlin, Isaiah Young and Noah Lyles will be on the anchor. He's been making some music this week. Great Britain, the world champions from London. And after 4, CJ Uja, Harry Akin-Zariti, Adam Jamili and Nathaniel Mitchell-Blake. The Jamaican contingent in the crowd cheer out their quartet, who kept it cool. Nesta Carter, Julian Fort, Rashid Dwyer, Nigel Ellis. Made a couple of adjustments to their lineup late in the day. We'll wait and see how that affects them as the Turks are the last out. Well, and if they planned something, half the team forgot it.
Well, it is a big occasion, so you can forgive them for getting a little bit nervous out there. Guliev, they just need him to they just need his team to give him the baton within reach, because he's so fast at finishing relay legs, and he did the same thing last night. He looks fantastic. He's in shape. We know he's in shape. He won in the Doha Diamond League in the 200 meters. He's a bit of a character. Tortu, the Italian, isn't he a bit of a star? And he's racing again. You know, they're standing there. They were the 2016 World Juniors medalists, first and second. Noah Lyles taking the first, and Tortu the silver medal. And I think that's the future of sprinting. You know, they've been looking for someone to fill the shoes of Bolt, and are these the two men that are going to do it? Well, Noah Lyles is a bit of a character. He's dropped his music, his single yesterday. Get on and have a listen to it. It's a pretty good song. Quite like it.
You liked it. You were tapping along in the car.
I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it.
It'll be good to see Lyles on the anchor leg as well. He did that very well for America in the 4x1 at the World Under-20s.
He has a tattoo below his rib cage, and it's the word icon as a statement of what he wants to become. And he's well on his way, I think, especially in the sport of track and field.
Well, there'll be high hopes for Britain. Fantastic couple of years in relays. CJ Uja, Harry Akin-Zariti, who anchored a European success.
Oh, and I'm a huge fan. It's weird seeing him down the back straight, because I'm so used to seeing him finish, and he's a personal trainer. Could you imagine having him as your personal trainer? He was discovered playing British Bulldogs, which is that
game you play as kids where you try and make it from one side to the other without being tackled. Gosh, I can see why he was good at that.
Ada Jamili and the familiar figure of CJ Uja on the lead-off leg. And there's the man who held him off to take a gold for Great Britain. Nathaniel Mitchell-Blake focused for the anchor leg for a team who saw it all go awry on the last leg in the Bahamas 2 years ago. On the anchor. And they run from lane 2 on the inside.
On your mark.
So
Jamaica, are your blocks okay? Thank you.
So a little question mark there being asked, or a question being asked to Nesta Carter about whether his blocks are okay. Seems to be content, so they can settle back down once more. So here we go with Turkey in 2, Jamaica in 3, Great Britain in 4, US in 5, Italy 6, Brazil 7, China 8 and France in 9. 4 by 100 metres relay for men. Last event of these World Relays.
On the outside were running just fantastic. The 4 of them ran beautifully.
De Oliveira actually really stormed away, didn't he? Because the Chinese looked like they just had a metre or two on the field into that home leg.
Well,
but De Oliveira produced the race and the leg of his life, and he doesn't quite know initially when he crossed the line. Can he believe it that he's held off Noah Lowe's, he's held off Mitchell-Blake?
Well, he's in shape. He's run a 10:02 personal best, equal personal best this year, and he is an athlete to watch in the individuals, looking forward to the World Champs. But that excitement across his face, he's almost run as fast there.
He's done the run another 100 metres back again.
Pure emotion.
And then they collapse onto the track. And this is a lap of honour that they will never forget, and that the World Relays will never forget. The US, the winners 2 years ago, beaten this time. The world champion British team, 3rd on this occasion. They might wonder what might have been if they'd just clicked on the last handover. But a thumbs up from them for their experience here in Japan. Yeah, we're good. Harry Elkins, Arite, and these boys are very good. And so are their officials and support staff outside. It's a moment of high emotion for Brazil.
Beautiful scenes to see when you see the support network just in as much, feeling as much emotion as the team that's out there, because they know the blood, sweat and tears that goes into being an elite athlete, and they live and breathe it every day with them.
Victory for Brazil in a world leading time. The British had actually set the world lead for 2019 in the heats, but overhauled by the 38.05 of Brazil. US, Noah Lyles and co, 2nd.
Oh no, and Jamili's just putting ice on his leg. We don't want to see that. We do not want to see that, because he's had a few issues in the past. He didn't line up in the Commonwealth Games relay final or in the final of the 100 metre at the Commonwealth Games through injury. He's a quality athlete, a star athlete, so we don't want to see him being too injured, so hopefully it's not too bad.
What a way to finish this World Relays. The men's 4 by 100 metres. It goes to Brazil, their first ever success at a World Relays, beating out the United States and Great Britain into 2nd and 3rd respectively. Jamaica all the way down in 6th. The Italians didn't get it round. The Turks bring up the rear. But this is Brazil's moment. What a night. What scenes, what successes, what stories.
There were so many great stories. There was so much great emotion. A lot of the athletes will take away some information that they'll take to the season to hopefully get themselves right for the World Champs later. I love the dancing. I love the intros. Loved all the highs that the athletes brought and the personalities that we saw from them. It was just a fantastic 2 days of track and field.
some of the best athletes in the world.
Well, the crowd are making their way out. Final thoughts, Tamsin? It's been fantastic to have you with us.
Well, the World Relays are exciting. We get to see the personalities of the athletes, and I think it did not disappoint. We had 2 days of high emotion and great track and field.
Well, it's been a pleasure to have you with us. Great fun working with you. Great fun watching this crowd as well, coming in and enjoying their athletics over 2 nights of dramatic action. So many stories, so many upsets, so much drama, some special memories to take away from this World Relays. It's been fantastic bringing you this broadcast from here in Yokohama as the crowd say sayonara to another World Relays. Next up though, the big one, the IAAF World Athletics Championships. Join us from Doha from the 27th of September to the 6th of October. The biggest, the best, the IAAF World Athletics Championships from Doha, coming up later this year in a special Sporting 2019. But for now, it's goodbye from Yokohama.